After we looked at how to view and edit files, let's now look at how to make copies of files and move them around in the file system. I will change to my work directory. If I want to make a copy of a file, I can do it using the cp command, specifying the source file and target file. I will now copy my run.sh script and name it run2.sh. And I will list the content, and now I can see there are two files. I can also copy a file to another directory. I'll create a subdirectory called sub1 using mkdir command, and I will copy my run.sh inside it. Let's list the content of sub1 now. I can also copy multiple files using wildcard notation with star. I will now copy all shell scripts starting with run to subdirectory sub1. Now I can see in the subdirectory there are two files. I can as well move files in the same manner. I will now move the second version of the run script and move it to the subdirectory and name it run3.sh. And I forgot the .sh extension. This way I moved and renamed the file at the same time. I can as well copy directories in a similar manner by adding an additional argument -r for recursive. I will now copy the directory sub1 to sub2 with all its content. I can as well rename directories in the same manner, sub2 to sub3. And I can remove the file with the rm command. I would remove directories with rmdir command. But if I execute it on a non-empty directory, I will get an error. It only works on empty directories. However, if I do want to completely remove the directory, I could use the rm command with the recursive argument -r. And now I deleted the complete sub3 directory. If I list the content of the current directory, I don't see it anymore. Now be extremely cautious with the rm command, especially with the recursive argument. You might unintentionally get rid of files that you actually need. My personal advice is every time you execute the rm command, count until 5 before pressing enter. This will help you avoid unpleasant surprises that may even break your system, so be careful. Let me create two more copies of run.sh script. I will create a copy and name it run version 1.sh and run version 2.sh. Now I will modify the second file that we have actually two different files. I will use nano editor that we learned in the previous lectures. I will remove the last 3 lines from file and save it and close it. I will now create a special type of file called Symbolic Link that would link to the original file. I can do it using the ln command. I will specify ln -s symbolic link, the source run v1, and the name of the link would be run-link.sh. I can see that the file now links to the v1 version of the script, and you can see this notation with the arrow sign. Now I can work with the file in a similar manner as I would work with the original file. I can now execute it, and it will print me what I expect to see from the v1 script. I would now like to reuse the link and link it to the v2 of the script. I can simply remove the link first, and then run the command again. I would do the same for version 2 of my script and name the link again run-link.sh. Now if I execute it again, it will execute the second version of the script, which prints the date only once. I could have achieved the same by forcing to recreate the link by adding the -f argument, ln -sf, run v2, run-link. I forgot to add the sh extension, there's no problem. Currently I would have 2 links. Let me demonstrate it again. Now I want to link it back to the v1 of the script. And now the link changed. I could also remove the redundant link. What we just did with the symbolic links is widely used in Linux for package upgrades of the libraries. We can see, for example, the library file stored in a /user/lib directory called libgimp 2.0 *. For instance, this one, as you can see, there are two files, one with extension 2.0.so0, which is the link to the original file that has the specific minor version specified, 0.822. This way, applications that depend on the libgimp library would be using the linked version, and I can update this library with the minor versions without breaking their dependent applications. This way you can ensure smooth minor updates of the dependent libraries without breaking other applications. If I would like to remove the link, I can do it, and you can see the original file did not change, it's still in place. I can work with the same operations on the directories. I can create a symbolic link on the sub1 directory and call it sub1-link. And in the same way, I can see the content, and I can also safely remove the link, and my original will be still preserved. As always, we can check what arguments are available for the cp or other commands by appending --help arguments. This way you can see the arguments that are available for the cp command for very flexible operation in the files. The same argument --help also works for remove and move commands and the rest. Alternatively, we can also have a special command for printing the manual pages, called man. I will try to open it on the ln command. It will open the viewer similar to the last command we used before, and we can navigate it easily the same way. Now at this step, feel free to pause the video and take your time to practice copying and moving files between directories. Also, make sure to have a look at the arguments these commands have. This way you will know what these commands can do, and one day you will use it. And be extra careful with the rm command. Now that I created a bunch of directories and files, I might need to search for some specific files in the file structure. I can do it using the find command. It is a very powerful command with options for a variety of cases. Let's start with the simplest version. I will type find, current directory, argument -name, and the pattern for the files I'm looking for. It will be star.sh. I'm interested now in all shell scripts in my current directory. Now I can modify the find command and search only in the subdirectory sub1. And now it printed me shell scripts in the sub1 subdirectory. I can also use find command to find directories in the hierarchy starting with the current directory. I can do it with specifying the type argument with the d parameter, where d denotes directories. As you remember, directories are also files with special treatment, and with the -type argument I tell the find command that I'm only interested in finding directories. I can also search for files of type L, which are symbolic links. Well, we removed all the links from the current directory, so let's quickly create one. And now running the find command for the type L, which are symbolic links, will now print our desired result. Now let me show you one more argument for the find command called exec. I would now like to print the content of each directory that is found by the find command with the type D. I will type find current directory -type D. I will add the -exec argument, and the parameters for this argument would be ls-l and the curly brackets, which would mean that for every output of the find command, I want to execute my ls-l command. Essentially, the curly brackets here are the placeholder for every line of the find result. Now I have to use the special notation to finish the parameters for my exec argument. This is specified with a semicolon, and since I want the semicolon to be understood by the ls command and not by the full line with the find, I have to use the escape character \. Executing this command will print the content of two directories that we just searched for before. It prints the content of the current directory first, and then it prints the content of the sub1 subdirectory. Exec argument for the find command can also be prepended with many other varieties of printing the file content, or listing the directory content, or maybe in the piping operation that we'll cover later. This is quite a powerful concept that you might find in your day-to-day work as well. And in general, let's have a look at the man page for the find command. And here I'm specifically interested in the examples section that I will now be looking for. And here the man page specifies quite a few example cases for the find command. Again, make sure to look at the documentation pages or search in the internet for most common usages for the find command. There are really a lot of things you can do with the find command, and also there are tons of examples in the internet. Let me now search for the files in /etcd directory by executing find command with a different path argument. Find /etc -name all.conf files. Now the interesting part is that the output of this command doesn't really fit into one screen. I would need to scroll the terminal window up and down if I want to go back. However, there is a better alternative for processing the lone output of commands like find. This concept is known as pagination, output redirect and piping, which we will cover just in the next lecture.